Hello, everyone, and welcome to POV Beyond the Degree. This is a series that's dedicated to helping you create a life and career you love. My name is Imani, and I'm the founder of We Are Made. This is a growing platform that inspires dreamers, creatives, and entrepreneurs ready to bet on themselves. So, if you're here today in this room, this lets me know that you're ready for a change, and I'm so excited to meet you guys halfway. So, today's conversation is about taking your next steps from where you are, and we're diving into a session that we actually named Building Our Own Platforms for that reason. So, during this session, you will learn what it takes to leverage your point of view, build more than just a following, but a community, and set yourself apart from your competition. And it's all happening in this room today. And with that said, we have amazing panelists who know what it takes to build platforms from the ground up and stand the test of time. With us first, we have Luke Lawal, a proud Nigerian and Bowie State graduate who majored in biology, and he is also the CEO of one of the leading HBCU platforms. You may know the brand, HBCU Buzz. And this all started in his dorm room at Bowie State over 13 years ago. That has now grown to an audience of over 500,000 followers. So Luke, along with his amazing team, is shaping the narrative of HBCU life and Black culture today. So ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Luke to the room.
What up? What up?
All
Excited to.
right. All right, so next up we have Miranda Stanfield, who is the founder of MBS Tech and also the growing platform Tech on the Yard, and both amazing platforms that provide HBCU students with opportunities and resources to help them break into the tech industry. But her resume doesn't stop there. During the day, she serves as a senior policy analyst with the Department of Justice, and she is a North Carolina AT&T graduate who majored in international relations and holds a minor in Spanish. You can find her on the leading podcasts like The Table with AO and A Day in the Life of a Tech Star, sharing her expertise on breaking into the tech industry and advocating for the next generation. And let's show some love to Miranda. Thank you for being here.
Everyone, thank you.
All right, guys, welcome to POV. We're so happy to have you all with us today. And might I add, everybody is an HBCU grad on this panel, and I'm so excited about that. We got Bowie State, AT&T, and then of course you have FAMU. You got the best one, right? Oh, it's all love though. It's all love. All right, so I'm so excited to jump into this conversation. We are covering three main landscapes today: starting, scaling, and pivoting. But before we get into building your brands or setting yourself apart in the workforce, let's start from your origin. So, as a collective, society expects us to have an idea of the kind of career we want to have before we go to college, or at least have an idea of an interest. So either or, you can go first. What were your original dreams, and how did you know which career was the right fit for you?
I'll get started. So I originally wanted to be a veterinarian. I just really loved animals. But once I got into college, unfortunately for myself, and like Luke, well, Luke passed and, has a major in biology, but I failed. I did horrible. And I was like, you know what? This is not for me. I can still love animals, but I don't have to care for them. So with that being said, I actually started off at A&T as an undecided. Then I went to biology, then I went to business, and I was like, I was really trying to understand, what am I doing? I was really trying to find myself. I thought I know what I knew what I thought I knew what I wanted to do, but I had no idea. And so when I was about 8 years old, I had built my first computer just through my father's influence and his duties, his career. And so I didn't know I was in tech back then, but that really is a seed that was planted in me a long time ago. And so as I finally graduated from A&T, I entered into a STEM program for the federal government, working on the Navy. But I had an international relations major, so I was able to onboard on a missile program that was multinational funded. So that's how I was able to get my first role. And so it was the STEM role. And so as I navigated throughout the federal government, I began to really learn and pick up terms and key terms and key concepts. And I was like, okay, I really just kind of shaped into my own career, and that's the tech career. And that's so it's really just it was sporadic, it was all over the place, but I really found my footing.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was very similar. I think So, as a Nigerian, most people know we grow up lawyer, doctor, engineer. Those were my options. And when I was an undergrad, I majored in biology with a minor in chemistry. And although I excelled, I knew that wasn't my passion. I tell people all the time, like, as an entrepreneur, your job is to be able to do everything and anything and just focus on being the best that you can with every role you have. And one of the quotes I live by is how you do anything is how you do everything. So it didn't matter what field I was in, I was always going to outwork everyone. I think my pivot came with just understanding that I wanted to align myself with more what God wants for me versus what I'm trying to like push for toward myself.
I get that. So a lot of the times, like we have this idea or this plan, and even though it doesn't go as we originally decided in our minds, the good thing is I always tell people like it tends to work out no matter what you do. So despite your original plans, you both moved on to build successful personal and professional platforms that have great and immense impact. But before you were speaking on stages and getting interviewed on podcasts, it was just you and your vision. And this may have been a vision that many people couldn't see or couldn't even imagine themselves doing, especially if you decide to quit your job. No one can really get behind that, right? So, how did you gain the courage to take the first step in building what you imagined could exist? And how exactly did you know where to begin?
Whew, okay, I can start. For me, it was just like I mentioned earlier, just realigning myself with what God has for me. And to be honest, it was more so about memory or past and future. Like I was more so focused on the fact that God got me through this and he can get me through everything. So once I started to realign my thoughts with the fact that leaping out on faith is not just about like not knowing, it's about understanding what he did before, what he's capable of, and being really aligned with that. And once I started to erase the idea of imposter syndrome, I remember when I first started HBC Buzz, like I got I got 4 C's in college. English 101, English 102, History 101, and History 102. So when I tell people like starting a like news outlet was not literally my skill set. It wasn't something that I knew that my skills aligned with, but I knew that was my passion. Changing the narrative for HBCUs. I knew getting the word out was my passion, making sure that the way the rest of the world viewed our community was something I wanted to change. So like I think for me, it was just understanding how to align myself more with his mission for me. And that gave me a sense of peace that could never like I'm so locked into the point where I every room that I'm in, I know he's there. Every space I'm going into, it gives me so much peace knowing that I'm exactly where I'm at, where I'm supposed to be doing exactly, what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah. So I will say this. Have always been a philanthropist. I love people. I love my people. I will say that. And obviously that's why I went to a HBCU and why I do all things for HBCUs. A lot of people would hear my story, they would see me, they would see the positions that I was in, and they would come to me for help. And so I said, and so I have tried a lot of things. I've had courses, have been successful, I've been in communities, but I was like, God, this is not fulfilling. This seems like the same thing. And so back in after I did like a crazy run of like podcasts and speaking engagements and all these things, I just like stood still and I was like, God, I want to do something different. It's a lot of people in this tech space. It's a lot of people have a course. I said, I want something new, like set me apart. And I said, I wanted everyone to go to me for one specific thing. And so I had a conversation with one of my partners and I said, he was just talking. I said, wait, HBCU Tech Tour. And I said, that's it. And I said, it's never been done before. It's never been seen before. That's it. I'm going to take tech on a tour strictly to HBCUs. And with that being said, the same way Luke is speaking, every opportunity has just flowed to me. I'm like, okay, I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I mean, this is November, so the election happened, DEI is rolling back. And I remember I was talking to Imani, I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I was just questioning things, but I said, no, this is different. God gave me this. And I remember just like sitting at a table, I'm like pitching this. And someone's like, yeah, I have $25,000 for you. I'm just like, this is so now that I had my first tour stop, I'm like, I truly believe and I know I'm walking in my purpose. So just as Luke mentioned, God, I always give God the glory. I always give God the thanks for giving me this vision. And that's it. It's taken off. I really just got a article in Essence that just published yesterday, just came out in print. So I'm just like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So really, again, it's just looking toward God and following his direction. And that's how I got tech on the yard.
Okay, Essence, congratulations. So proud of you. I love that. So when it comes to vision, it's really hard, like especially when you have a really, really good idea and then someone else can't see it, but like you can feel it and you feel like God's putting you in the trajectory and you're just wondering like why doesn't everybody else see the same thing that you see? I'm so happy that you guys just had the courage just to continue and just to see what happens because things could have changed or went in a different direction. But I always say like when God's in place, things will naturally begin to appear, things will naturally begin to happen, and you'll work hard, but it won't be nearly as stressful. But just in case it doesn't work out like that for other people, culturally, we are taught to work twice as hard to get twice as far. But we also see in today's job market where over 300,000 Black women have left the workforce, and it's not by accident, right? So, how can someone leverage a platform, whether a resume or a portfolio, to set themselves apart from competition? And can you share some mistakes you made in the beginning while joining the workforce that you overcame?
So I would say the very first thing for me that the biggest mistake is not believing in myself. Very shy, and I honestly felt like entering to the workforce, I had my whole race on my back. So just being transparent, like I had what I call like a work wig, and I would wear like a short black bob, and I just had to like feel like I had to dress like yeah. I kid you not, I was like so nervous because I would be the only woman and the only person of color in that space and that created a huge imposter syndrome for me. So I feel like I was not doing my best. I was so scared to do my best, so scared to exceed because I wanted to be in this show. I was scared what the response would be, and so I really just truly didn't hone into exactly who I am. But what I would like to tell women and men who are entering to the workforce, who are nervous, who are anxious today, is one, you have to know that you already have it. And so what I like to tell people is I started off as an international relations and I know Luke was talking about C's and I got D's and F's. Like I lost my financial aid twice. It was tough. But I really thought to myself in undergrad, I was like, am I even smart enough for this? Obviously not because obviously I am because I graduated, I got my master's, I'm on my PhD. And so I want people to look at themselves and think about their strongest skill set. And I remember entering into the workforce, and I was like, okay, I'm really efficient. I have a great workflows, and so I use those strong skills as the things that really made me, and use those as a tool and hone on into those into the workforce. So when I'm thinking about a new role, something that works for me, I think about, well, what am I really good at? And so I use that and I kind of do a gap analysis and I say, okay, this is what I'm good at. This is the role that I'm applying to, and what is my gap? What does it take for me to get from A to B, excuse me, from A to C? And so with that being said, I really want people to one, leverage AI. Don't be scared of AI. AI, they talk about AI will take your job. That is true, but you have the opportunity to leverage AI. You leverage AI, upskill, and use your transferable skills. So.
Yeah, I was taking notes on her answer too. I don't know if you want me to answer as well, but I would just say like one of the things that I wish I had did more was just leveraging my relationships more. Like I think when I was an undergrad, I really thought that like you only asked like your immediate family, maybe your mentor, and X, Y, and Z. And I had like this huge imposter syndrome. I used to tell people like growing up in PG County, Maryland, like although we're like black cream of the crop, black this, black lawyers, doctors, that is a lot of pressure coming out of high school. Having friends, families that are, both my mom and my dad went to HBCUs, and the way they kind of like instill the culture compared to what we're doing now, it's just like not even a thing, right? So for me, it's just like trying to understand how to live up to that expectation has always given me some sort of imposter syndrome. But one of the things I've learned is like we're in these safe spaces for a reason. When we go to HBCUs and developing these relationships and these mentors, everyone's following the same footsteps that other people has already walked. And once you get that understanding of like, hey, whoever you think is great, whoever your mentor is, whoever your role model is, they're dealing with the exact same thing that you went through in the past. And once you get that understanding, you start to leverage that information, those relationships, and then you use those relationships to your advantage. And then you kind of understand, okay, well, if they went through it, in 2025, what you guys are going through and the resources you guys have compared to what I had, like I didn't have, like I barely had the internet. I tell people that all the time. Like any, especially when we talk about like the political climate, I'm like, look, when I was old enough to vote, we put Obama in office twice with little to no resources. Like so I don't like this generation, there's no idea of like I remember I was telling somebody at this in 2025 the most like annoying thing to hear is I don't know. Like there is no way you could ever say I don't know. Chat GBT can go find like there is nothing on this planet that you could ever come to me and say I don't know or I can't. Like you have all the resources, all the information at your fingertips, and once you get past the idea of realizing like, hey, maybe I do know. I do have the information. I can do this. I don't need anyone. You can do anything.
I love that you guys touched on that, right? Because I think that when you have so much access, sometimes it can be something that's a little bit scary, but then things that also amplify your vision, right? So, speaking of that, like so many people wrote in and asked questions about following. How do I get followers? Does it matter on Instagram? Do I have to post at 3 o'clock? Do I have to post at 6 o'clock? How do I make my platform get all the amplification and get all the vision that I want to get out of it, right? So, with that being said, I'm a big believer that it's hard to build and conceive vision or to grow your community without the people in it, right? With both of your platforms having thousands of followers and that's all they see, they don't see what you guys experience. How can someone build a following that truly aligns with who they are without code switching? And what's the best way to actually attract and grow that audience from the ground up?
I mean, it's simple, very simple, and I don't know like the easiest way to like just say it is consistency. Consistency, consistency, consistency. Drive your message, be authentic as possible. And I tell people if you want to be consistent, just be you. Be you every single day. Show up as yourself every single day. The second you start to pivot, you're not being consistent. The second you start to put out a message and you start to like chase trends and X, Y, and Z, that's when things start to shake. And then you kind of, I like to say that's when you start to betray yourself. So like the best way to grow your following and on any platform, I mean I'm sure there like some code switching on different platforms to be better tailor your message. But for me, it's just understanding that if you show up on every single platform every single day as authentic as possible, you can't lose.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's very true. But for me, I really had to find out. I had to really had to think to myself, okay, Miranda, who are you, and who do people perceive you as? And is that connection there? Do you see the two together? Like for example, I'll say a lot of people just know me as um, I just wear all black every single day. I'm just the black girl that wears all black that loves black people. And people love that. And so people will tag me in a picture and say, I'm wearing all black, just chilling Miranda. And so again, that goes back to what Luke says. I'm just being myself. I just like black. I literally wear black every day. I love black people, and this is just who I am. So yeah. Now I will say I have not been consistent myself. And I know I can go so much further with being consistent. And so I'm going to challenge myself to what Luke said today, just being consistent because the message gets out there. People find out who I am. but it's difficult. You're dealing with you're juggling all these things in life. You're kind of thinking to yourself, okay, is this right? Is this perfect? Did I stutter? Did I, your mind is going crazy trying to think about how people will perceive you when in essence people already love you. They just want more of you. And so I'm going to challenge myself with that and being more consistent.
And I just want to add one thing, and don't be afraid to like reevaluate where you're going. Like one of the biggest pivots I've made this year came from my mom yelling at me about this quote that's always been in the back of my head. She's just like, the longer you're on the wrong train, the more expensive the ride back. So try really, really hard to reevaluate where you are and how it aligns with where you're going. Because sometimes we get so wrapped in the now and being consistent that we don't take the time to look up, take a breather, assess where we are, and make sure that it's aligned with the mission of our lives. Because if it's not, it's time to take that train ride back.
Okay, mom. That was some good information. Moms be knowing. Moms be knowing.
Nice.
But I definitely agree. Consistency is key. Everyone says that, but sometimes like when you're in it, it doesn't really feel like when you see slow progress, I know what that feels like when you're almost looking for validation from the likes, from the followers. But I have seen the consistency of both of your platforms over time. And whether you're known for wearing all black or you're known for representing the culture, I think just the consistency of just working towards that vision is what really matters, and it makes one heck of a difference. Because when no one's around and it's just you and whatever you're going after, you have to be the one that stands in between and says, this has to come to fruition and it's going to happen through me. That's my belief. That's how I see it. So we see the rise of personal brands like Keeply, Peak& Co. You got Kai Sinnott. With so much success and attention, they have landed amazing brand deals that have helped them monetize their platforms. So what are some tangible ways to monetize from your work when you're just starting out? And how do you put a price on the value that it brings? Share some examples of people you actually see doing this well.
I would say start small. Do all the free partnerships and never forget the common touch. Like the youngest person on my team is 18 because for me, I recognize that I started HBC Buzz almost 15 years ago. And I have to, and if there's anything you understand about the college market, every year it changes. Every campus is diverse, every market is diverse, and me clinging to a younger demographic is what keeps our brand alive. um, and if we don't, our brand will die. So for me, it's just like, how can I partner with and make sure that I'm constantly connected with free partnerships, connecting myself with people that are looking to work with my brand on a micro level, because a lot of times people just jump out there and say, okay, let me work with the biggest brand, the fastest brand, or the biggest amount of dollars, where the culture is not rooted in dollars. The culture is rooted in change. The culture is rooted in elevation. And sometimes that comes from the small voices, not the large ones. So, in order for me to understand my value, I have to root my value in what the community wants and not what brand wants. Because a lot of times people start to pivot their brands to make sure they monetize it the best way. But for me, the best way to scale is by keeping my brand young, by keeping my brand rooted in the culture and what's important to the culture, and then scaling that way. But outside of that, I would say calculate your impact based on how you evaluate your community and your like direct following, and don't budge on that. And being able to create a sustainable and understandable value will always be able to like translate to different rooms. Like my favorite quote, Jay-Z says, set your price and live your life. Like that is how I literally live my life. And imagine when I say this, I'm saying not for our community, because family and friends will always be family and friends. But everybody else, I set my price and live my life. And I like to tell people this all the time, like, because my dad taught me this valuable lesson a long time ago when we were talking about like how I evaluate my time. And he always says to me, he always says, if you can calculate what you believe your hourly rate is worth, right? Always do that math against things that you put your time to, the people you partner with across the board. I remember I was telling someone like me having a cleaning lady is not because I'm bougie. It's because I know that my hour to me is worth $1,500 an hour. And if I say my hour is worth $1,500 an hour and it would take me almost 4 or 5 hours to clean my house, then I'll probably be losing money by cleaning my house versus paying someone $200 to clean my house. So it's just like you got to constantly do that math because that 6 hours that I would have took to clean the house, I could have been putting that towards my business. And that's and me, when I do that math, I'm immediately losing about $10,000 by cleaning instead of giving her $200. So it's just like constantly reevaluating your value will allow you to set your prices in a way that you'll always win.
Yeah, I want to piggyback off the value part. I agree. In the beginning, I definitely honed in on all the free or in-kind partnerships, but I stayed there too long. And so, although my value increased, I still felt like I owed people that in-kind, or I was still in that space. So, as I begin to elevate and grow, I'm like, wait a minute. The ROI on this partnership, on this event, it is a lot. And if I'm giving it to you for free, you got to give me something. So I definitely agree. You got to start off small. You got to start off with, those in kind, those free, but don't stay there, right? You got to really start to begin to evaluate your value. And so that's really how I begin to monetize. And I will say this too. When I was growing my brand, you think about monetization and partners, I didn't know where to look. I was thinking big. I was like, yeah, I need the Microsoft and the Google and and I was in the Meta, and I was like, wait a minute. And so I just began to type in LinkedIn like black tech, black AI, black, and I was started to like blind, just cold email people. And I'm like, hey, this is what I got going on. This is the potential impact. And I put my value out there, and they caught it. They were like, this is amazing. And so instead of, doubting myself and believing like, oh, can you please do this? I just need you. It's like, hey, this is my value. This is what I bring to the table. Let's make something work. Because in the end of the day, the ROI is going to be there. So I would just always say, reevaluate your value as you scale.
Reevaluate your value as you scale. Okay, girl. That was good. That was good. And I love that you touched on using your resources. So, a lot of people forget about LinkedIn. They go to Instagram, they go to people's DMs, and they're searching. And Issa Rae has this quote where she always says, like, don't worry about networking just to hire up execs. Like, don't forget to network across. And I'm very big on asking community for support. And if I don't know what I'm doing, I'm going to say it out loud because it makes me actually feel a little bit more confident because that way I can track my progress and see the difference that it can make. So, when it comes to networking, people are very nervous. Either they're nervous to put themselves out there, they're nervous that they haven't done enough, their resume isn't big enough. And I think a lot of us understand what that feels like. So, when you're in that space and you're trying to figure out what to do next and how you should move forward, what are some techniques that have helped you be more effective when networking? And how can we as a culture make it more collaborative and less transactional?
One of the things that's always helped me be successful is to focus on how we can get there together versus what I get out of it. And I like to tell people this because it is the hardest thing to do, right? Where it's just like when you're in a space of need, it's hard to put other people first, right? But I've always felt more at peace and got more value out of a situation when I'm able to bring more value to it. Does that make sense? So it's just like if I come to a circle of 5 people and I bring the most value to that table. In my opinion, I feel like even though I'm not getting as much as I'm giving, my value is in giving versus receiving. So I'm always looking forward to what I'm bringing. Like I'm always calculating how much I'm able to give versus what I'm getting back. And then just having a consistent collaborative mindset where it's just like, hey, how can I help you? How can we think this through together? What can we build together versus what I'm looking for from this situation? And when you have those two things in mind, you're always able to offer insight. You're always able to, bring yourself to certain rooms, and people are naturally going to gravitate that because when you're in a room full of need, being able to add value is always going to be like it just always comes back.
Yeah, and I will say personally, as much as I come off as outgoing, I am a lot of times nervous. And I really just become an actress when I am networking and getting throwing myself out there. I'm like, this is not me. Let's go out there. It's like and sing. Like I'm going out there. And what I've noticed too, especially in our community, is we're actually not mean. We actually really love each other. And if you really go up to someone, like I've been at Afrotech, like, hey, what you doing here? You by yourself? Like me too. Like, hey, let's connect on LinkedIn. I mean, people have done it to me. I'm like, if I I have the confidence. People love people. Our community loves each other. It's okay. Like I kid you not, you're 9 times out of 10, someone is going to be welcoming you. They're going to be nice. There may be that one off where you're just like, wow, they rubbed me the wrong way. But in general, when it comes to networking and you are leading with, I'm just happy to be here. I really want to get to know you. You look great. I mean, I feel like that has really worked for me. I mean, I've just really had to put on this mask, like, okay, let's go on there, Miranda. We got this. And I'm like, hey, this is who I am. I know who I am. I know what we can do together. I look, and so I really just want people to just know that. And you know this too. I will say I grew up. I was born in '88, and so we didn't have social media. So it took a very long time for us to get to the space where it is a disconnect and that we're connected. You know what I mean? We didn't, so I had to go outside and go on the playground. I was like, hey, I'm Miranda, and introduce myself, and then meet a friend and play, right? And so I want this generation, the college students now, is you have to get outside. You have to get outside. Connecting on LinkedIn is great, but getting your foot out there, shaking hands, going to these conferences, going to these networking events where people all are there for the same purpose, you have to get outside. And the more you get outside and the more you practice and the more you get used to it, it'll just flow like water. So be confident in yourself. And if you gotta pretend, just be an actress, be an actor, but get out there because it's so worth it. I mean, I've literally gotten calls like, hey, Miranda, we have this position open. Do you want the job? Yes, all because of my network. So I always make sure that I have a strong network.
I want to
Okay.
add to that because there's something you said that kind of like sparked my interest. For me, one of the things I focus on daily, any room I'm going into, any conversation that I'm about to do, or whatever the case may be, I say a quick prayer and I check my energy. I check my spirit, I check my peace, because the worst thing you could ever do is be in a space of trying to network with someone and your energy is bad or your energy is off, because that's what gravitates people to people. Like, and it's not the words you say, it's how you say it. It's not how you look, it's how you wear, how you look. And just being able to just be a light for people will always have people gravitate to you. And last thing I'm just going to say is follow up with people. I'm the worst at it. I try really hard at it, but try to follow up, check in with people, be a light in a way where you're concerned about people's well-being and how they are personally.
Okay, so I'm gonna piggyback off of that. So what I realized is a lot of people are introverts nowadays. So I know, Miranda, you talked about getting outside, and I do remember I'm a '92 baby, not an '88 baby, but I do remember going outside and have to put myself out there, right? But this is a little bit of a different generation. They are more socially connected online. So how can we kind of meet them where they are for all the young professionals who are dialing in? How can they put themselves out there a little bit more, especially for introverts who don't necessarily feel comfortable faking it till they make it? They're trying to figure out what the heck they're faking first. So how do they monitor that situation?
I like based on what she said, like confidence is attractive. When someone can walk up to you, speak their piece, connect with you in a way where they're not necessarily, what's the word? They're not worried about a connection. They're just worried about making sure they kind of like did the thing, whether it's a hi, hello, keep it moving. To me, that speaks volumes. And when you are less focused about a return and you're just there to show up, because that's 99% of the work, that's when it feels more authentic.
And you know what, Imani, I'm gonna give some tough love. The regardless of how the you are connected or disconnected, there are people in your generation that are introverted, feel the same way I feel, and push past that and get out there and are getting the connections and are really thriving. So it's kind of like some tough love. Like you kind of just kind of like gotta swallow that pill and push through because there are going to be people in your generation, and we're talking about networking. LinkedIn is great, yes, but most of the time when I'm connecting to someone on LinkedIn, I already met them in person. Hey, let's exchange LinkedIn's. So you have to, and I know it's like a tough love thing, but you gotta push through. You have to, and I mean because that will then. And if you don't, that will then trickle down into different spaces, which I'm encountering with the HBCU students is when in an interview, in social settings, in the workplace, in the office, just being that disconnect. And then you have these partners and these directors who are generations and generations separated, and they're trying to figure out like, do they not like me? Are they angry? Or there's a lot of things. And so at the end of the day, unfortunately, you have to push past that. You have to face that fear. You have to understand that networking is sometimes shaking hand. It's sometimes being at an event. And so LinkedIn is just sometimes not going to be enough. Your network is going to come from those shaking hands, those hugs, those, hey, I'm going to go to this party by myself. That's really where it's going to come from.
And hold on, I just want to say one more thing. I think tripling down is so important. Like for someone like me, like I might meet thousands of people, right? But if I followed you on Instagram, saw you at a random social event, then you sent me a message, then I got an email from you. Like I'm never gonna forget the person that I've met in so many different spaces. So like I would like to say, just do all of it. Just not prioritize just to meet someone because that might be their first time meeting you and they've never seen your profile or you're not connected on LinkedIn or X, Y, and Z. So just try to find other opportunities to double down. But that personal connection will and in person will always be number one.
Amazing advice. I really appreciate it because sometimes like we interact with so many people who just don't even know where to start. Like a lot of them assume that they're socially awkward, but I don't really think that's it. I think they're just figuring out what to say first. But as soon as they meet somebody who makes them feel comfortable, comes to what Miranda was saying, they just blossom. Next thing you know, the introvert is not so introverted. I feel like we need each other, a combination of people who are just figuring it out together. So, Miranda, you have been working for cybersecurity for over 15 years. Congratulations.
Yeah.
You've actually been working with the government. So, in an interview with Beyond the Lecture, you touched on the importance of job security. I couldn't agree with more. Walk us through how you balance your platforms as an entrepreneur with a demanding 9 to 5, and touch on your recent Tech on the Yard event as well.
Absolutely. So I will just say I'm a Black woman, so we really can kind of do it all. But I will say there have been areas in my life where personal or even as a mother have fallen by the wayside. But what I will say, and you think about time, you think about your value, the work and the grit and the fight in you, where you putting in hours and hours and hours because you believe in yourself, has allowed me to, it has been the balance. So whether it's a late night, and I'm talking about I was working a job, I'm earning my master's or on my PhD, being a mom, my daughter's a cheerleader, I'm traveling, and just making it happen because I see the end. I know what it looks like in the end for me. But and so with that being said, I've actually had challenges from my 9 to 5 and being an entrepreneur and kind of marrying them both is, my job is, had like a human resources meeting, like, hey, Miranda, what is going on? What's this about? And so I had a deep dive meeting with my employer, but I stood 10 toes, and I would blatantly say, like, I'm doing this for African Americans who are underserved in the cybersecurity community. And it's like, because I was thinking, like, well, what can you say to that? I mean, are you, you know what I mean? Like, what can you say to that? But I will really say, in my journey, with my passion, with my mission to really close the gap, when it comes to the wealth gap, as well as in cybersecurity roles, for African Americans. That is when it's your passion, when it's what your heart pumps for, your heart bleeds for. It doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like work. The hard part is clocking in from 9 to 5. The easy part is, and what's on your mind day in and day night, day in and day night, and then, like, in between your lunch break, what's on your mind, that doesn't feel like work. So that is what's really that is what is the balance there. It's always there. I'm always working on it. And so with that being said, it's catapulted, its scale is grown. And so with Tech on the Yard, I think the relatability I have with African American students, HBCU students, the HBCU experience, I was very even intentional about how I even name the event, the tour, which is the yard. That's a culturally aligned phrase, the yard. And I remember we have a person on our staff who didn't go to a HBCU. She's like, "What is a yard?" And I'm just like, you just gotta know. If you don't know, you don't know. But curating my life's work, my experiences as a Black woman, the only woman in certain spaces in the cybersecurity space, creating that job security, I wanted that for my people. And so I just made it my life's mission, from top to bottom, young and old, to really work toward closing that digital divide, those gaps, those wealth gaps, those cybersecurity roles, and I'm doing that with a demographic of HBCU students.
And I love what you're doing because it's so incredibly powerful to kind of meet them where they are and you know who your audience is. So speaking to your audience and like knowing exactly what they're experiencing in this moment and being an HBCU grad, you're touching bases in ways that they don't even imagine or can't even see yet. So congratulations on your event. I'm so
Thank
proud of
you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and I just make sure too. I mean, although I'm an '88 baby, I will say, like, we always make sure we have a DJ. It's loud. It's fun. It's engaging. The students are dancing out the gate. Like, that's what we want students to show up and stay for. And so thank God, and I just give God all the glory for really helping me to curate something where our students show up and stay and enjoy it. And so yeah, I'm very thankful and very honored.
You're doing it, girl. You're doing it. So, Luke, you actually have a very similar story as far as like balancing a 9 to 5, because I actually interviewed Luke over the summer for our More Bus series. Thank you again. So, you shared a piece of your journey when you knew it was time to actually take HBCU Buzz more seriously. Even your boss noticed before you actually left. So, looking back, what gave you the reassurance that you could successfully pivot industries, and what steps did you take to prepare for that transition? Tell us about your story.
Worked at Kaiser for a little while, and I thought that I was going to be a pharmacist, and I worked in a pharmacy department. And if you know anything about Kaiser, they're literally the best healthcare company to work for. Benefits, starting salary, always great, you know. But I had did an interview, I think it was with CNN, and it was televised, and they had to come to me, and because of my work schedule, I had to do it at work. And I basically did this interview in the break room, kind of like literally pulled like a Clark Kent situation, put on my suit really quick, switched out. And when I was done the interview, they aired it, I want to say like 30 minutes later. So 30 minutes later, I'm back on the clock, and me and my boss were like in the back, and we're literally looking at the TV screen, and I'm on the TV screen, and she's literally looking at me, and she's like, "Wait, is that in the? Wait, why are you here? What are you doing? Like you don't belong here." And luckily for me, because of our personal relationship, she's like, "You know what? I want you to go on call, and I'll always send you a 1099. Till this day, I still get a 1099. It's zeroed out because I'm never going back. But they always let me know that I'll have a place there. And around that time, I just started taking HBCU buzz way more serious. I started to realize that I wanted to align my purpose with my passion and making sure that everything that I was doing was aligned with what I like feel excited about, what fuels me versus, what I thought wanted to do to make money. And once I realigned that, I think it was just easier for me. Everything just kind of like all the doors just started opening. But one of the things I will say is like I had a strong sense of identity. I was just more so nervous about whether it would work or not. And that imposter syndrome started to creep in or whatever the case may be. And then once I released the idea of potentially failing, then I started to realize, like, okay, all of this is for me. What's made for me is already there. My steps are already like guided. Like, I don't need to worry about failing. I need to worry about the journey, and I need to worry about like learning as I grow. And ever since then, it was just another stepping stone, a new heights. And everywhere I go, I realize, or every step that I've gone through, I realized that if I can keep that same mindset, the same mindset that allowed me to do that first pivot, the same thing that got me through that one is going to get me through this one.
I love that. When you told me that story, I was like, "Hold on, your boss said you can come back? What do you mean?" Because a lot of
Like,
times you don't get scenarios like that. Let's be honest, right?
yeah.
So, something to even go a little bit deeper with yours, how did you prepare to transition? Did you save money to transition? Because a lot of people are just quitting their jobs and just going full force, which I used to be for, but I tried that. So, what advice do you have for just getting into it at all?
So I like to tell people come up with a number, set that goal, and save for it. Luckily for me, I kind of already knew. So that whole year, I didn't spend nothing. Like everything I got from Kaiser, I was putting it towards my business, and I've never, like, I didn't touch any of it, right? But I would say what's more important than saving is networking in the space that you're looking to go to. Because a lot of times when people pivot, they just take that jump, but they haven't spent the time and energy in that space. Like for instance, before I got to Kaiser, I was getting ready to go back to pharmacy school, and I said, you know what? I don't know if this is for me, so let me work in that space first. Let me at least see what that environment is like before I spend another 4 years in college trying to pursue something that I'm not sure about. So, like, for me, I would tell everyone just try really, really hard to network with the people that are doing the things that you're looking to do in the spaces, in the rooms that you're looking to be in, and just get a good sense and feel. It's like me when I go to all these $1 million houses now. I'm just getting a look and feel for the land. I'm starting to, just talk to God and be like, hey, this is where I'm looking for. Like, give me that vision. Like, start to, I spend my Sundays test driving different cars. Like, hey, like, is this for me? I feel like this was mine. Talk to me. Give me that vision, and then I move off of that.
I love that you said I didn't just jump. Okay. 'Cause I think too often everyone's just jumping. So I love what you guys spoke about today. Everyone had amazing advice. And we just have one more question before we wrap up. So, no matter what industry you're in today, if we're being honest, the landscape is constantly changing. Like Luke, you even touched on it before. HBCUs are constantly changing. Tech is constantly changing. Everybody's worried about their jobs, where their place is. Do they have a place? They're all trying to figure it out at the same time. So, with that being said, how do you both stay motivated through the ebbs and the flows without burning out? Number one. And what do you want to see change within your individual industries?
Yeah,
Well,
I'm gonna let you go, Miranda.
I mean, I don't like, I do, but I always want to go back to God. Like that's where my help comes from. So I have no, when you really are walking in your purpose and you really hear from God and like literally hands you something on a plate. I walk in peace. Like I will tell you this right now, I'm currently furloughed. So that means I'm not working and I don't have any income from from my 9 to 5, but I have all the income coming from my tech on the yard. And so I kid you not, I have no worries. And I'm like, God, like when Luke was just talking, I was like getting chills. I was like, I think God's about to like transition me out of this because I'm walking in my purpose. So What I really want to happen though in my industry is I want more of us in this space. And I want more of us who are already in this space to open the door. It's a lot of gatekeeping in tech. There's always a paywall. There's always, you got to book a call. When it really, really doesn't have to be that hard. So look and lean on people that are like me who are looking to open a door and keep it open for people like us. So with that being said, I already know I'm going to transition into tech on the yard full time, and then two, what I want to change in this space is to have more of us in this space, and that's what my work and my mission is doing now.
I love her response. So I'm going to start with what I want to see change for me. I just want to be able to put on more HBCU talent. When I first started HBCU Buzz, that was our number one mission because there was this like thing that made my skin crawl about the way they felt HBCU students weren't qualified. I remember I used to get this question on an interview, especially when it's outside of the HBCU space all the time. People would be like, "Are HBCUs still relevant?" And I'd be like, "Where would we be without HBCUs?" Like, well, that's a more important question. Like, how would you? I don't know where I would be. So, like, I can't really relate to that question. So, for me, like, what I really would like to see is just more HBC representation, more investment into our talent, not just seasonal campaigns. Everyone loves homecoming, but invest long term. First thing I ask brands and partners is, okay, where are you investing in the next 10 years? Because this quick campaign, this quick pedestal just for homecoming season to uplift your products or whatever the case may be is not a real rooted investment. And we, as HBC Buzz and me personally, I always lift up the brands that are doing it year after year after year. That has always made my heart like scream. And as far as like how you stay motivated, for me, I focus on my routine. Obviously, God is number one, but I focus on creating habits that no matter in what season I don't shake. So like I go to church, I'm very spiritual. That happens no matter what season I'm in. I work out every day, no matter how I feel. I sleep 6 hours a day, try to sleep 6 hours a day, no matter what's going on. And once you develop those habits, you'll weather any storm.
All I've heard from you guys today is staying consistent, having vision, staying motivated, but also just moving with what you have. Everyone started from zero. Everyone was figuring it out. Everyone is still figuring it out. And I'm so proud of your progress, what you guys have done, what you guys will continue to do, representing HBCUs around the world. I'm so immensely proud, honored to have you guys here speaking with us. But don't worry, we're not done yet. I'm actually going to shoot it over to Leah Gaines for a cute little rapid fire. And just know without a doubt, you guys are really making an impact. I did want to say that as well.
Hello, Luke and Miranda. It was so great hearing from you guys. I was taking notes the entire time y'all were talking. But so we're gonna have a quick truth or myth. So I'm gonna say a few statements and y'all are gonna let me know whether it's a truth or a myth. So number one, you have to go to college to be successful.
Myth.
Myth.
Okay. Give me a little more like expand on what you mean.
I mean, there's so many different ways to be successful, but if I were you, I would choose to go to HBCU for that route. But your journey, your destiny, and what God has for you is not placed on just stepping on a college campus.
Right.
Yeah, I think, and also too, I think in 2025, there's so many different ways to make money and become successful. Like I know Imani mentioned Castanat, like he is a streamer, but he's doing amazing. You know what I mean? So there's so many avenues and ways to be successful without a college degree.
Definitely. Thank you. Okay, so the next one is certifications are more valuable than experience.
Myth.
I
No,
would say there's some truth to that.
some truth.
I
Yeah,
would
it's
say
like
there's some truth to
it's
that.
tricky. It's really tricky.
Honestly, as a student right now, so I've been talking to different people that I've been trying to go into the industry with, and they've been discussing with me how they value certifications over degrees sometimes. So I think people are definitely valuing them more, but like, what's y'all's take on it?
So personally, as a business owner, I tell people this all the time. Accountant and an attorney will always make money, no matter what industry you're in, no matter what you're doing, because whatever business you start, you need somebody for your contracts and you need somebody to manage your money, right? And in those specific roles, those concentrations is what's important, because a CPA is more important than someone that's managing, or CFO. You see what I'm saying? So like you can have all the degrees in the world, but if you don't have those certifications that I need to manage my portfolio as it comes into investments, or as it comes to like just being able to use specific platforms to help me scale my business financially. There's so many certifications and concentrations that separate people from something as simple as, okay, can you use Zero versus I forgot the main other platform that most people use, but like Zero is like a new certification because Zero helps you manage your business at scale, so you can manage your funds on different subsidiaries. So like I tell people all the time, like I'm gonna hire someone that has a Zero certification versus someone that's just a CPA, just because I know that concentration is important to me. And it doesn't matter the amount of experience. If you don't know how to do that, then you know what I'm saying? Like if you're certified in Canva, I'm going to hire you as my social media manager compared to someone that's aesthetically knows how to use social platforms. So like to me, those certifications, the official ones versus the non-official ones, are still also important.
Okay, thank you. Miranda, you said myth.
In the tech space, I will say it's a myth because there was a huge scandal, and it still is, that there's a lot of cheating in certification. So obviously you can cheat in college, but what I will say is when I'm looking at someone when it comes to a tech role and you're applying, I'm looking at you, I'm looking at your degrees. I'm looking at you, and I want you as a woman of color, and any person of color to understand too. There are not a lot of Black-owned business that we're going to be applying to, that you would be applying to, and sitting across from them may, kind of give you an edge over in other applicants, but most of the time that's not the case. So what I would say is, having a degree, there is a lot of coursework that you can speak to about how you apply knowledge and the things that you learn. So if you've written a paper, if you did a simulation, or you built something, you can discuss that in an interview versus if you pass a 130 question test in 90 minutes. You know what I mean? So I'm going for the degree. I'm looking for the degree. I'm looking for the skills. Because granted, you may have a certification in Canva, but there may be someone that doesn't have a certification in Canva that's been using it for the last 10 years. So there's a skill set. So I like to look for more advanced certifications when it comes to a specialty like cybersecurity or AI or cloud, but degrees are important.
Okay, thank you. And so, last one, hard skills matter more than soft skills.
I'm gonna let you take this one first.
I think it depends.
Yeah, that's tough. Um,
It
I
depends
think
on
it,
the role. Yeah.
yeah, I think it just depends on what team you're on. Because I feel like I have a team that hard skills are more important, and I have a team where soft skills are. It just depends. It depends on what your role and your responsibilities are. Um, if you I'm a business guy, so I would say your bottom line matters. So I would go hard skills over
Mhm.
soft skills, just because whoever's driving the bottom line is what we try to prioritize as much as possible. So yeah, I would say hard skills over soft skills if I had to choose.
Okay.
Well, I would give a different POV. I wouldn't choose because I think it depends on the role. But your soft skills or your transferable skills are going to be the skill set that can help you grow, pivot, and do a lot of things. If you're not efficient, if you're not organized, you're not a lot of these things that are soft skills that you can't learn as a hard skill. It may not help you grow. So being able to, let's say you know how to use Zoom on the back end, right? And us all, you're really kind of like heads down technical, but are you organized? Can you run a meeting for me? Are you personable? Can you stand in the gap for me? Like there are a lot of things that those soft skills will jump in and help you be successful and help you scale versus that kind of hard skill. This is all I really, I'm just really strong on this. You know what I mean? So I think it's a combination of both, but soft skills can really take you places that your hard skills can't.
Yeah,
Mm.
understood. Okay. Okay, wait, actually I do have one more just because I'm interested. Okay, so the best way to learn a business is to start one, or the best way to learn business is to start one.
Agreed, 100%. Um, or be an assistant of a CEO. I tell people that all the time. Like, if you work for a CEO as an assistant, you get firsthand experience of what it's like to actually run the business. And as an assistant, you're allowed to ask 1,000 questions because obviously you have to do your job. But yeah, I think the best experience or the best teacher is experience. So.
Yeah, I agree, unfortunately. I know I do agree. I would love to say get an MBA, but there's nothing like having skin in the game, going through it all. I mean, I remember when I was first starting out business and I was like, it was lawyer fee after lawyer fee. And I was like, you know what? Maybe tech on the yard doesn't need a R or a TM after it. You know what I mean? Like maybe, but no, it's definitely such a learning lesson. And honestly, the only way I would know how to run a business is honestly if I started one. So yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you guys so much. That ends the truth or myth portion. But I really appreciate it, and y'all have given very valuable insights.
All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. This was such an amazing conversation. And I just want to say, I hope you guys walked away with something to take with you to start your platforms, to expand on your platforms. But don't worry, we have one more thing for the attendees. We're actually going to put you guys into breakout rooms for collaboration, inspiration, and for you guys just to see some next steps and actually create a plan with your group. So if the panelists could stick around,